So I'll be talking a little bit about the live production solutions of Blackmagic and how the workflow comes together. Blackmagic offers a range of products that provide an end-to-end solution for any live production demand. Our products are designed to provide broadcast qualities performance at affordable prices, enabling anyone to create great live production content. You could be a small venue monetizing concerts or doing social media webcasts, or a larger AV staging company or church, or a national broadcaster going full production in news, sports and live entertainment. It doesn't matter. We are one of the few companies in the world that has a solution for all. So each live production includes three phases: acquire, control, and deliver. So let's first have a look at the products we offer to acquire the content we will be working with. These are our range of 4K Ultra HD professional cameras that can be used for any live production application. We have a suitable camera for ENG, SNG, or for those special shots. The Blackmagic Micro Studio camera, which is this little guy you see here, is what you might call the secret broadcast camera. It features a 4K sensor for Ultra HD support, Micro Four Thirds mount for affordable but professional interchangeable lenses, and 6G SDI-based output. All parameters like iris, shutter, zoom, and focus can be controlled remotely from ATEM via SDI. It's also designed for discrete use. It's small enough to be hidden inside the goal, or hidden in the stage, or hung from the ceiling. The Blackmagic Studio Camera 4K is the studio version of the Micro Studio camera. It features the same 4K sensor, again Micro Four Thirds mount for affordable professional interchangeable lenses, integrated talkback, fiber, and built-in monitor output, and 12G SDI output. Like the Micro Studio camera parameters like iris, shutter, zoom, focus can be controlled remotely from ATEM via SDI or thin fiber. And the latest camera we launched, which is the Ursa Broadcast. We launched this camera earlier this year in order to meet advanced requirements. Basically, this is a professional broadcast ENG, SNG camera that's designed to meet any live production workflow and demand. If we would dig a little deeper into the details, we have in this camera a new 4K 2/3 inch sensor. The new B4 mount that is able to natively mount 2/3 inch broadcast lenses. The ability to fully control the lens from the camera body or from ATEM to fiber or SDI. Support for Fujino and Canon ENG SNG lenses with analog or digital drive. Like the Ursa Mini Pro, the lens mount can also be swapped for EF, PL, and Nikon mount lenses. So the user could use the camera for different applications than broadcast. The camera has the same body as the Ursa Mini Pro. It's got built-in ND filters, designed specifically for this lens mount for ENG and field use. The physical controls, like the Ursa Mini Pro, are designed to be all within reach of the cameraman and are designed to be quickly accessible. It offers the same versatile media options, CFast and SD, to record internally for field use or have ISO recordings for studio and live applications. The output is 12G SDI, which provides Ultra HD at 50 or 60 frames per second over a single link. And it's got the same physical accessories as the Ursa Mini Pro. The B4 lens mount system makes no difference between SD, HD, or 4K lenses, so they are immediately interchangeable without modification. With this camera, You could shoot HD with HD or old SD lenses. Of course, the sharpest HD pictures can be achieved by using HD lenses, but you don't have to throw away your SD lenses just yet. Similarly, you could shoot 4K with HD lenses. This would enable to move toward 4K production without the cost of 4K lenses. And of course, you can shoot 4K, highest quality 4K with 4K lenses, because this is a true 4K camera. The sensor operates in 4K no matter what, no matter which resolution you set the output, so the lens you choose or the output you set does not affect how the camera works. Alongside the Ursa broadcast, we have a new fiber conversion system for OB. Firstly, on the camera side, the camera fiber converter provides a single link over SMPTE fiber between the camera and studio. It provides power to the camera up to 2 kilometers, plus program and return video, talkback, tally, and camera control. It's perfect for studio and SMG use. The camera fiber converter connects to the camera body with a plate and sits neatly on the back of the camera. It links the SDI in and SDI out. It links to SDI in and SDI out of the camera body via short cables. It provides integration to studio for 1 Ultra HD program video, 2 channels of talkback, 3 selectable return feeds, power, pan-tilt zoom data, and intercom. The studio converter is the base unit for each camera control, receiving the camera's output video and providing power and return feeds. It's half rockable and 2 RU high. It provides 2 12G outputs and integrates to any live production workflow. Here you can see the back of the camera. 2 outputs, 3 return feeds, reference input, 4 analog audio outputs, and intercom tally breakout for connecting to your existing third-party intercom systems like ClearCom or RTS. The connection between these devices is simply SMPTE 311 fiber, a very robust industry standard cable. It powers the Ursa broadcast up to 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers, this is a very, please have in mind that this is a very high length, this is a very big length, because for most other broadcast triax cameras, this would be less than 1 kilometer. Video, audio, data, returns, talkback, and tally are all in a single cable. As next category, we have our devices that manage and process the signals coming from these sources. At the core of every production is the video switcher. ATEM, by the beginning of 2018, has developed into a very broad range of products, serving the needs of a wide range of users, starting from entry-level standard definition and HD customers who just need simple switching support with a few channels and minimal CG control, through to offering the world's first Ultra HD 2ME based switcher with support for Ultra HD at 60 frames per second. Through the range of Blackmagic ATEM production switcher, there is a product to suit any need, any demand, and match any budget. We are one of the few companies that offer this flexibility. Therefore, ATEM are the best-selling production switchers in the world by far. We have perhaps 50,000 units in the field already. That's 50,000 production units, PPUs, studios, venues, vehicles, and broadcasters. Now I'd like to tell you about the newest additions to the ATEM family, which we announced earlier this year at NAB. ATEM 4ME Broadcast Studio 4K is our new flagship switcher product. The 4ME version doubles the amount of MEs from the old 2ME broadcast switcher. Why? Many live event or broadcast ATEM customers cover live productions that require many layers of content or multiple mixed outputs to different destinations, such as sports. The 2ME Broadcast Studio 4K was designed to support those kind of customers at Ultra HD resolutions at high frame rates. But customers have said that it lacked the amount of MEs that they required to deliver content. To give an example from sports, while ME 1 and 2 would be used to create the program out with CG, ME 3 and 4 could be used to feed external screens with a different CG, or just to cover a different activity. The ATEM 4ME Broadcast Studio 4K is designed on the existing 2ME Broadcast Studio 4K, but we have updated the firmware and provided more processing performance to support the additional MEs. Likewise, we've updated the keying capability of the hardware, and the ATEM 4ME also offers 4 advanced chroma keys per layer, 16 in total, as the 2ME had 4 previously. The ATEM Advanced Chroma Keyer built into the 4ME is derived from Ultimate and provides cleaner keying and finer color selection. The ATEM Broadcast Studio 4K offers a free upgrade to the 4ME switcher. So the 2ME had 2 versions, the Production Studio, which was 6G, and the Broadcast Studio, which was 12G. With the latest edition of the ATEM software, the Broadcast edition can be upgraded free of charge to the 4ME edition. We also announced the ATEM 1ME Advanced panel. The original 1ME panel was built on the old Ecolab design, which at the time suited customers new to Blackmagic design, but now looks outdated and lacks certain control requirements. Updated design and improved control options built around the same 19-inch aluminum chassis as the Resolve Mini panel launched last year, and the ATEM TV Studio Pro HD switch, and it works with all ATEM switchers. It's got a bigger screen, more ergonomic lighted buttons, dynamic colored displays for buttons, dedicated ME buttons so you can switch between the layers very quickly, and better material quality. And on top of this, the new price is lower than the old price. We also announced a new compact switcher, the ATEM Television Studio Pro 4K. This is arguably the most powerful ATEM that we've ever released. It's based on the ATEM Television Studio Pro HD released last year, but adding Ultra HD 4K format support. Instead of 4 SDI and 4 HDMI inputs, this one offers 8 12G SDI and no HDMI. It is the only ATEM with a standards converter on every input. This is like having 8 Teranexes in the box, allowing you to work with mixed resolutions and frame rates. Also, it includes the ATEM Advanced Chroma Keyer, the same one as the one on the 4ME, allowing very clean chroma keyer with advanced controls. And in addition, this also includes advanced audio features like 6-band parametric EQ, compressor, dynamic, and adjustable audio delay on the analog audio input. No other ATEM has this. Here we can see the professional connections behind the unit. 8 SDI inputs, 8 SDI direct outputs to use as camera control and mix minus, program and aux outputs, 1 multi-view output, 2 analog audio inputs with mic preamp, intercom headset inputs, and remote port for PTZ control. The ATEM camera control panel fits a gap in our product line for customers who have been asking us since long time to provide a hardware camera RCP. Whilst many customers are happy with the ATEM software for camera control, for many others it's too slow, or they simply cannot use a software control for their camera control. So this one, it's not designed in the same way as traditional RCP system and is designed for ATEM customers who are typically portable or vehicle-based and need a control that's fast to deploy, or maybe in smaller studio control rooms where space is limited. Matching the same panel design as the new ATEM Vanemi Advanced panel, it will sit perfectly alongside as an additional control surface. The bottom sections provide a familiar RCP control with joystick for iris master black levels and independent gain controls for RGB value, allowing compensation for unwanted colors in blacks and white. The upper section of the controls will provide shutter speed adjustment and provide status information on camera settings. The unit is designed for multiple camera setups and will address and control more than 4 cameras depending on the control capability offered by the RCP. Routing and distribution are key aspects of control. Blackmagic design offers a range of digital SDI-based routers, ranging from 12 by 12 to a huge 288 by 288. A router for every studio, PPU or OB vehicle. It's a full digital matrix, which means any input to any output or a number of outputs. No sections are banked or limited. Control is possible by front push-button interface, external hardware panels, and software. Mac, Windows, and iOS are supported. It's possible to program macros, and all units can also be programmed via SDK. Moving on to monitors, we offer a range of full-rack single and dual screen solutions, which are ideal for building into fixed installs, production galleries, portable units, flight cases, or monitoring stations. The SmartView 4K offers a full Ultra HD resolution with SDI input in a 19-inch rack width. It's considerably smaller and higher quality than a lot of the existing Ultra HD monitors or screens, making it ideal for Ultra HD productions. And now, let's move on to delivery options. Hyperdecks are essentially SSD-based digital VTRs. All feature dual-slot drives for continuous recording. They support uncompressed 10-bit video and all flavors of ProRes, giving a range of options for you to choose between quality or runtime during production. Hyperdeck Studio arrives with SD and HD support over SDI connections, while the Pro version adds additional analog audio and video connectivity. Hyperdeck Studio Pro is the top product with additional support for 12G SDI and higher frame rate recording. The Hyperdeck Studio Mini is the latest addition to the Hyperdeck family. It records on dual SD cards instead of SSD and features Ethernet port with FTP support for file transfer. It supports Ultra HD and all the recording formats supported by its bigger brothers. It's portable, compact, and 3 of them can fit on a rack. The Teranex video processors are another important component in our delivery group. These basically convert anything to anything. They are ideal to support multi-format output from live productions, such as up-down scale between HD and Ultra HD. It can also do format conversion between different frame rates to deliver to overseas markets or to receive feeds from overseas markets. It features low latency that is so crucial for AV and live use in stadiums, churches, or on stages. The Teranex video processors include advanced algorithms for noise reduction and video processing. With their price-performance ratio, they are simply the world's most popular video processors. The web presenter is the perfect companion for all live streamers and webcasters. They basically convert SDI and HDMI input to USB output and enables any camera source to be seen as a webcam by Mac or PC. With this product, you can use your favorite software to output stream to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, etc. And it even works with Skype as a video source. Each of these products can work standalone, but we can take all of them and build complete end-to-end workflow. It doesn't matter who you are. Whether you are a small YouTube channel, or an AV company making touring events, or a national broadcaster building a studio, just choose the products that you need and scale the system to suit. And now I'd like to give some examples from some customers who have done just that. Sky News is the UK's largest pay TV broadcaster with 11 million subscribers. In 2017, Sky News UK used two ATEM2ME switches with 2ME panels alongside Video Hub routers to support the reporting of UK general elections from their West London base. The recent additions of macros and 2ME DVEs with SuperSource were used extensively. In 2018, they have added multiple Ultimate units to provide support for virtual set studios for their morning show. Derby County Football Club is an English championship team. It's the first ever to broadcast English Football League online. Derby County built a custom-designed stadium-wide solution with Blackmagic design, utilizing the full range of our products. The system is built around a dedicated fiber system and Video Hub 40x40 at the center. It features field-side cameras, including Ursa Mini Pro, a micro studio camera used for the tunnel that joins that the players use to enter the stadium. And it features an internal studio at the stadium for Rams TV, including 3 studio cameras for pre, during, and post-game presentations. The X Factor is the UK's largest talent show and is touring the UK with ATEM and Ursa Broadcast together with other Blackmagic solutions to deliver a stunning show to arena audiences. They shoot the show with Ursa Broadcast with Canon lenses around the stage and in the pit. They have a portable production unit with ATEM2ME plus 2ME control panel, hyperdeck, converters, and video hubs. They use this system for live broadcast and playing the content to side LED screens at the venue. And that brings us to the end of my bit. And thank you very much for spending time and listening through. Yeah.
Is he coming?
Can we ask a question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, please.
How come the studio of 2ME cannot be made to...
Why don't you speak to the microphone?
Thank you. How come the 2ME production, live production, cannot be made with 4ME? The original it was the same.
So, the 2ME switches we had previously had different hardware. One was supporting 6G SDI, which was Ultra HD up to 30 frames. And the other one was 12G SDI, supporting up to 60 frames at Ultra HD. And they had different processing power inside. So it was possible to upgrade the bigger one, the more expensive one, but not the production studio. Any other questions, please? Yes.
For the studio, I was wondering, the HD I know the new one that you've released this year has got inbuilt scalars. Is there consideration for adding at least 1 or 2 ports with scalars on the HD edition?
So the A10 Pro 4K has the scalars, but the A10 Pro HD will not get any such upgrade as far as I'm aware. Also, the advanced audio controls like the EQ, the compressor dynamics are only available on the A10 Pro 4K. Yes, sir.
On the disc recorders, you said there's FTP support. Now, my question was, let's say if it's recording to a disk, can you access a different file while you're still recording at the same time? And okay, I think about also the question is asked, is there a feature support for scalars on like the 4ME or the 2ME broadcast?
So the first question, for the HyperDeck Mini, as long as you are not trying to access the file you are recording at the same time, you can transfer other files from the FTP while the unit is in operation. You can use any popular FTP client like FileZilla, etc., to connect to the unit, and it will just download. You can also upload clips to the unit for playback, but it should be on a format supported. The 2ME and 4ME do not have any scalars, and they work like before. All the inputs have to be set to the same format, but you can use Teranex for converting other signals into the house format. Any other questions? Then
All right.
I'll be your host and invite Chris.
I'm going to take this out of here
Yes.
and pop this in here. How we all doing, guys? All good? So I'm just going to start up Resolve here. Oops. See if I can plug this in here. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, we're all there. We're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed or whatever.
Okay, there we go. So basically, if you know that you're going to be doing some multicams, you can drag these and just put them into there. And there they're gone. They're now in there. I like this way of working because you put something in there and it works. One of the fallacies with Final Cut is you can spend a lot of time organizing your data, but you have to work a little bit harder to organize your data, because if you use the same keyword in two different places, you'll find that footage from day one and day two are in the same place. It's very easy to do that, even if you're being organized. So you have the benefit of actually putting the footage in a folder, and it's there. It's really gone there. But then you also have smart bins. And if I was going to right click on this, and you can add smart bin, and you can say anything that has a 23 in it, bam. We know that. I've not even entered anything, so you can just be typing, and as you're doing it, things, they narrow down. And if you like what you're wanting to see, you then can just create that smart bin. The criteria that you have here, you can add other criteria. You can say anything in the clip details. You can say what camera it came from. So if you're saying, well, I want to just find all the stuff that was shot on a Sony camera, you can narrow that down. You can do this as an and an or. And that makes it very powerful on the Final Cut kind of way of doing things, to have the best of both worlds in that way. And I think this is a really good balance that they've found, that you can put things in folders physically, well, on the computer, and then you can also have the smart bins, which I think work very, very well. Okay? And now in this area here, if you click to the side here, I can move this up. Okay? And you see you've got the general notes of what that file is about. But what is very cool is in here, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can put anything that's the camera type. So you've got different departments that might want to put data in here that you might want to use to find things. So if you go shot and scene, you can put the description, the comments, you can tag it as a color, and this information gets tagged onto the file. So if this gets used again, it's already got that information in there, which is very, very good. It's something that media asset management systems have been trying to get right for many, many years. So, but the main shot is that you drag things down here, and this is now your media pool. This is what you're going to be working with. And then from there, you can go to edit. And as you notice, what you've got is that media pool is now up here to the left in this handy little area. And if you're used to Final Cut or Premiere, you can use the same keystrokes to zoom in and out. Okay? So the editing part is probably the most standard thing that you'll see. One of the things that I really like about if you're wanting to do, and this is kind of similar to the animation editor. First of all, you don't get a real graph. You don't get real keyframes. You get a semi kind of subset of that. You don't get Bezier curves or anything that you can choose from. And secondly, if you open something up and you have a lot of channels on there, or you have a lot of plugins that have keyframes, it goes under the menu. And then what you have to do is you have to change the menu size or scale something down. So to see what you've just selected, you have to do other actions. You have to move things around and move things to actually see the thing that you're trying to work on. Wouldn't it be great that you press something, then you work on it, and then you close it? And that's exactly what this does here. You know, if you're doing any work in here, these kind of light up showing that there's work done on them by the other plugins down here, the other parts down here. But you get your standard kind of dissolves. This right now, I've got it viewed. You've got different ways of viewing things. I've got it that there's no key, you know, you don't need to see all the stuff there. And then all I did was just to kind of show that it can go at a good enough clip, a good enough speed. You can see it's, it's fairly nippy. I've got something that I know I'm going to green screen in a little bit there. And then you can see here, you've got somebody talking, and then I've got somebody scaled and put on top. And it's a little bit lagging right now, maybe it's because of the double screens. And then there, so we've got 3 or 4 layers going. We've got the guy scaled, we've got somebody that's keyed in real time, and some, just normal edits going on there now. It's going at, it says 25 right now, but it seems to be a little bit slower. This, I believe, is something that on the beta for 14 was very similar to this, but it gets better towards release. This is still a beta, so I'm always expecting. I never do productions in beta, That's a fool's game. But this will allow you to really see what's coming up and give feedback. And you know, they actually listen to when you give feedback to put these certain things that are coming along in and kind of take away anyone's fears of anything that's not going to be implemented. But then let's just say I was going to be going on to, again, something like this one right here. Now you can select it, and then the next thing you can do, again, you click on, if I'm wanting to do something quickly, I would click on Fusion, okay? And then bam, this is now the Fusion page for that clip. So this is the clip coming in basically from the timeline, and that's the clip going back out to the timeline. You know, you can instantly, by clicking on this little button here, have that means that it's represented in the right side, and then if you want that one represented this side, so you can do some kinds of before and afters. It's very easy to do that. If you want the last one here, to your output to be shown, you just click it there, or you can just drag it up as a quick way of doing it as well. So if I was wanting to do something to that, again, it's very, very simple. There's different ways of doing it. I can do one of these. You do spacebar, shift and spacebar, and if I wanted to do glow, glow, and it shows all the different types of glows. And let's just say glow, I'm gonna do that one. And you go, okay, and then bam, you've now got a glow in that area. And then immediately, because you've selected it here, there's the inspector for it. And you can click on it and it makes it go away or come back. You can switch it on and off, you know, and you can see what it's doing. So you can just do, you can just play around with it, of course. Now, great thing is, you go back into your timeline and it's there. It's already there. You don't go out of the program and wait for someone else to load or have it in a separate memory space. You know, because certain programs, when you've got them running, there's their own code base that it takes. So even if you've got, you know, After Effects or you've got Photoshop going at the same time, or you're going out to link in and do something kind of Creative Cloud style, you've still got more chunks of memory used. So this overall uses less memory, but it does start racking up memory the more that you're doing. And overall, its base memory, it uses a bit more than you would because it's still got these things kind of ready and waiting for you. You know, but at any time I can come back to that and know that I'm doing something very simple here, just adding a glow, of course. You know, but I can know that I can go back and look at that. And right now it's in a very interesting place, which I touched on a little bit before, is that if you know you're going to be doing 3D cameras and 3D stuff and all that kind of stuff, there's a certain tool set that you're going to find in both places. You're going to find some of those tool sets in the DaVinci part as well as the editorial part. But the great thing is they're not different. The same tools that you can use and understand. So jumping on from there, if you were going to be doing something more critical on this, again, let's just say we're going to go into color. One of the things that's really, really handy about this, and I love this part, is this view here. You get your overall view, you know what you're clicking, you know what you're highlighted, and you get a pictorial view, which you can switch off from up there. You can switch off the timeline and switch off the clips. But you can immediately see here, this has been touched. This has got color on it. This has got color in it. This has got fusion in it. You can see all these different things. And if I went in here and just did a little touch on my curve, it would appear here immediately. And you can see, and then the way that it works kind of similar to the fusion part is this kind of thing here. In this way, it's the same kind of process, that this is the input and that's the output. But this is where it's all different down here. You can have multiple sets of all of this, and you can layer them up in different ways. I might have something kind of ready-made there, I'll try and see. But the power of this part is great with a mouse, it's good. They've designed it in a way that you can get a lot done by having this main part here, and then these tools they're nicely designed not to be too big and chunky, not too small that you can't see what you're doing. So it's good, and I think it is clearly the best that there is right now in the world. But that's when it changes and if I had power, I could just plug in this. That's where as soon as you click on this all lights up. Every single time you're going into the next one, all the data that's coming on the screen permeates down here. And you can immediately work on this and this at the same time. And this is where you get the benefit of, if you're starting off and doing software, that's good. You'll get to a certain place. And I made this analogy a little bit earlier. Anyone play video games? Anyone do driving games? Anyone like driving games? Right. And you're doing it with a joystick or the joypad, right? And then when you ever try it with a proper steering wheel with that video game, all of a sudden you're like, you can't go back. this is amazing. You get so much more control and you feel you know exactly what you're doing, that going back to doing it with the keyboard, you feel like you're missing out. And the same way with this, you really understand the benefit of this when you start using it, and then that's when you're like, you kind of spoil yourself for a little bit, because you're like, I can't go back. There's no way. So the power of this, coupled with this, and the way that they've made it, that it's good with the mouse, but it's also equally as good without the mouse, is very, very powerful. This is also part of the collaboration tools that we're not going to show today, but maybe in another time we'll do another one soon. And is that somebody that's working on the edit can be down there on the same network, and this could be all stored on a media asset system or some server, and I could be working on the color correction, and I don't need to know what they're doing, but this part up here, you know, would be slowly updated. If they're going to be changing something, the actual clips aren't going to change. I'm still going to be working on them. And then if the editor does say chops off something and you were, oh come on now, if the editor was working that might affect some of your keyframes, there's a warning that comes up and it shows you the changes that have been made that then you need to then incorporate into your part that you're working on. But that's for another time. This is just to kind of give you a kind of overview of everything. Now, if you go back to edit for a second, one of the things that's cool is you do have on the side here, oops, where are they gone? Come on now. Okay. Where's my toggle height? Let me just get this tiny furnicky thing. You have this mini little mixer here. Now, each of these have EQ, you've got panning, you can do all sorts of stuff here for the basic stuff that you're going to be working on. Now, we're working on quite a small screen here, but if you're working on like a 27-inch monitor, this turns out to be a real helpful thing of having them there just enough that if you want to do automation, you're there. And if you wanted to do something like this, that you'd change the video height and leave your audio heights. So they're much the same as Final Cut. I can switch off the media pool and it gives you a lot more space to work with. And then you can obviously, and if you wanted to, all of this can be done with workspaces that you can lay out your workspaces, and those can be assigned to keys so that you can go straight from a larger view for doing editorial stuff or more mixers. And then obviously the more tracks that you have here, the more that are displayed out to the side. See the way it kind of shows that it's hidden underneath like a little drawer, you know? So this is like this just kind of gets you there, but you wouldn't want this to be working all the time like that. And this is where the power of going into the Fairlight page really, really helps too. The same thing here, if I'm going to be putting on my, my mixer, you can pull that out to the side here, and you see everything's got a bit more space, and you can see you put your dynamics curves in there and stuff like that too, and then on top of that you've got your meters. So that then replaces most of your video kind of previews. You can still have the video preview on a separate monitor or have it up here, depending on the way that you've got it laid out. But again, what you have here is a very robust tool set, and this is my favorite bit, and this is what I'm really going to end with. This, see the way that the video is sliding underneath the timeline? I think for me working, and when you get the control surface that has a wheel, it's very similar to this that goes back and forward, the video and audio just kind of slides beautifully underneath. And it feels like you're working with something physical, because when you move it, it goes, and it feels very fluid and physical. And the zooming in and out and everything that happens on this is very, very fast. And you couple that with the audio, and you couple that with the way that this records everything. You can do dynamics, you can do compression levels on each one. You can have separate compressors for each channel. You can also have the new ADR tools, which are interesting. The new ADR tools is, it allows somebody to come in, play them the production audio, and then they can automatically read that production audio, and it gives them visual cues on the screen to get them to get their timing right. And then on the old Fairlight, you actually had a very robust but slow system where you would get them to read the production audio, And at the same time, just by looking, there was no visual clues, and then there was this ADR button that you hit, and then you'd go and have coffee for 20 minutes as it figured it all out. This one does it in kind of real time and gives you a confidence level by a coloring thing, and I don't know if they've implemented that yet, but it shows you how much it thinks that it's aligned and how much it thinks it's as good as the original for timing purposes. It's a confidence meter. So all of those things added together, the last thing that you would really see there is you're going on your output, and the output again gives you the same kind of overall view. You see your clips, you see what's being used. This is obviously a very simple format, so you'd probably find that you'd switch this off or minimize it, and then also when you've got enough clips, these scroll left and right, and then you've got your different outputs here. I do wish that this would go down a little bit because it's all kind of hidden behind here. But you've got your YouTubes, you've got your Vimeos, you can set them all going, and then those end up being in a job system. And that job system, as I've said, in the future, will be able to you set it all up, and any computer with the Resolve software on there, or the server, not the server, there's a client that will be running, will each get a bit of that job, and then it'll make your renders go a lot faster. So this was just a short kind of overview to kind of show you all of those main parts. I think the main thing that I find interesting compared to, say, when Final Cut tried to do it, they bought Final Color, and they never got the interface the same. Then they had Soundtrack Pro, and they never got, it's a different interface. Motion was different back then too. So you had all these different experiences, and nothing was cohesive. And so they really failed doing that. I think Media Composer, to the same degree, you can kind of feel the effects of different programmers doing different things. This, for me, feels like a very unified and consistent way of working that it belies its power. You can see there's a lot more stuff in the menus and everything, but I think overall there's a very powerful, weighty system in there that can grow with you. You know, these things can be used. You might not need to do any of them. You might, instead of doing color, you might just do a little bit of fusion in each one. But it doesn't stop you. You're never going to get any stumbling blocks. You can always get there and get out and get things rendered. This way, I think it allows you to test the waters in a much more approachable manner. A, because of the cost, it's free, and B, because of the way I think they've implemented it. To make something as simple as this and be as accessible as this takes an incredible amount of work. And so my hats go off to how these guys have managed to pull this off. You know, my one thing that I wish they would do is, when you go to the Fairlight page, the way that scrubs underneath, I want that for everything. Because I think from working in that method, I wouldn't want it any other way. Okay, so that about concludes it up, but I know that there might be some questions, so if there's any questions, fire away. Sure. Well, my arms are too short.
This is concerning the hardware. What would be the recommended specifications for computer hardware to get it run effectively, especially the 4K edit without drop frames?
Right.
What's recommended?
Right. So when I've found this on the low end, it seems like there's a lot more inconsistencies between the GPU tasks and the CPU tasks. There is a part in there in the computer here where you can set it and tell it what to do on the system parts for audio plugins and where is that one? User, I guess it's down in nope. Of course, I'm not going to find it right now, am I? Okay, I'll come to it later. But the whole point is you can set up what you want to be handled by your GPU and by their CPU. But at the lower end, as I said, there's more confusion and more complications because it's very slight differences can make a working thing or not. I've had versions that I've reinstalled on top of, and I've found that they don't end up being that fast. They seem to get a little bit slower. But then it was interesting. This machine until last night didn't have DaVinci on it. It hadn't had DaVinci on it, and I installed it today, and it's working fast. So, but generally any of the better options on GPUs on the Apple line, none of the built-in Iris ones, those ones will suffer, but any of the NVIDIA ones will give you something better. But there is a minimum that they say a 2 gig, and I think they're going to try and reduce that, but it's a 2 gig or 4 gig card. That would have to be quite a beefy Mac to have that in it. Once it gets up to, you know, the new iMac Pro, it's expensive. It's a $5,000 machine. But on that point there, you can do 4K, 8K, it's totally fine. You know, obviously, when you're integrating these panels, there's not actually that much data going to them, so the effect of these being tacked on is negligible. But I've seen the difference even between going from, like, one of the other machines I had was a quad-core i7, 2.6 gigahertz and 16 gigs of RAM, but it was actually slower than this, and this one's a less spec machine. So there are some things that I generally uninstall before I install afterwards, and that keeps it going. But if you've got something, this computer is from 2016, right? This one's completely fine, but I find the ones from 2012, yeah, that's going to be below the limit there. But you find out down in that lower area, you might want to consider trying the software and seeing what it's like, or trying on finding something that it works with that's a little bit higher, and you'll know straight away. But when you're going up to the 4K area, you'll need something definitely meaty. On the PC side, obviously it's a heck of a lot easier to find something that's a higher up. You spend $500 on a card, you're in good shape. You know, if you spend anything more than that, you're definitely going to be in good shape. You could get maybe a $250 card, you'd be in good shape. You know, but on the website, there's very, very clear instructions of what they will take on the PC side and the Mac side, and it's interesting that they're not equal. It seems to be that you have to have a tad more on the Mac side for it to be a bit more capable. You know? Okay, any questions?
I was asking, the DaVinci software for 5, which is the one that I'm currently using, I was asking if the 15 version has addressed the compatibility issue with mostly with the MP4s.
I've put a bunch of different stuff through it on 15. Oh, you mean the audio issue?
No,
on MP4, the videos.
The ProRes is okay.
Uh-huh.
ProRes is okay, but you now want to go to the MP4 recording, doesn't work. Also when you're using Windows 7.
Ah, okay. No, I knew there was an issue on the audio for MP4s was funny on both of the Macs, but the video was fine. But it was the audio inside of the MP4 that was the problem. But you're saying that's a Windows. Are you on Windows 10?
I'm currently on Windows 10. It's working perfectly good, but on Windows 7.
Oh, it's Windows 7. Yeah. Well, I would just say don't use Windows 7, even though I think it's better in certain respects. But yeah, you'd have to stay with the Windows 10. Obviously, they're going to be coding things to be as compatible as they can with the newest operating system, but they can't go so far back. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's 32-bit floating point processing, that is dealing with all the newest VSTs and some of the newer plugins that they're offering as well. They're really looking forward to the future. We're talking 4K, 8K. If you're going back to Windows 7, they would be spending too much time dealing with problems rather than moving forward. Okay, no problem. There's got to be one more question out there. Somebody's got a burning question. And there he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Name is Khanar.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Khanar.
Oh, hello there.
My question is not a big question, it's very easy. So, absolutely, these tools are very amazing things, and I got very much enjoying. So, I would like to ask you, will you prefer to perform this kind of expression somewhere outside of Kenya, or you find a destination within Kenya only?
This kind of installation? Yeah?
Yeah, as I have said, would you prefer to perform this kind of expression or things, this application, somewhere outside of Kenya? Or?
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. So previous to seeing all these packages together, I was using Fairlight when it was hardware. I was using Resolve when it was hardware. I was using Fusion when it was $900. I've used all these packages for 20 years. Well, 2006 is when I used them all together. And that's when, you know, this is before Blackmagic even thought about buying any of them. I'd happened to be working in all these different fields. I was working in music production, I was working in video, I was working all these different things in film production. And so I was exposed. And that's the thing, I don't think there's many people that have had the same type of exposure that I've had in doing different things that cover all these bases. And that's why I found it very exciting, because I was finding that when I was making commercials, sometimes I'd be making music, sometimes I know I'd be mixing it, sometimes I know I'd be grading it. I end up doing a lot of this work, or I'm handing it off. And with the way that this ecosystem is working now, yeah, if I was going to be back in the States, I would use this, no problem, because I have before. I've done dozens and dozens of commercials with Fusion. I've done all my commercials in the States were done with DaVinci 2K or Resolve. Oh, all of them. You know, so, and then Fairlight I've been using forever. So, and I know that those tools are just absolutely rock solid. And it's the way that they've implemented them here. I kind of feel sorry for the other companies. They're going to realize soon, they're like, oh crap. And they're going to have to find a different business model. I really think it's going to be that harsh that the other companies like Apple, they're going to have to find a different way of doing it. Now, Final Cut right now in Europe is really, really big. You know, I think when BBC took it on board, it got a lot more legitimacy, even at a stage when Final Cut didn't deserve it. Final Cut's come a long way. Premiere's come a long way too. And they're charging for that. And I don't like the model of CC. I don't, because I like to own things. And if I'm given something that's free and I'm owning it at the same time, what's not to like about that? You know? So if that was the question, would I use this in other places? Yes. Would I like to talk to other people about this in other, if they wanted me to come and consult for them or talk at colleges, would I like to show them that? Yeah, I would. I'd like to do that too. I believe in this. If I didn't believe in this, I wouldn't be endorsing it. I wouldn't be showing up and doing this, because it'd be a waste of my time. Actually, you know, I'm not benefiting from this. I'm doing this because I think it's good for the economy here, and it's good for the industry here. Because if more young people can be using something that can build on and go, if their employer is already using DaVinci and you go up there and you say, hey, are you using DaVinci? And no, we're using, no, I use Final Cut or I use Premiere Pro, and everyone's on more of a same platform, it brings more of a cohesiveness to everyone working in the same way. And so therefore you can go in the job market and go, yeah, I do that, and I learned this. And when I was learning this, I also learned color correction as well as editing, because I had the same tools. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I mean, for many years, I never looked at people's CVs. I look at what they've done. If somebody's interested in trains, and they've made a website about trains, and they just love trains, and they do that, that's their passion. If I need a train guy or girl, I'm going to call that person. I don't care. I'll look at the end result and say, look at all the stuff that they've done. If somebody likes filming dolphins underwater, right? And I look at the output that they've done, and they've done it with tools that are available, and they do some stellar work. I'm not going to say, yeah, but you know what, you don't have a degree in it. I'll just look at the end result and go, there's the proof in the pudding. So having these tools available for you to actually make the cake and do those things and deliver something to somebody, and you show it to the world by having a YouTube presence or a Facebook presence or just even a web page presence that shows your love for what you do, that's the CV right there. And that's all I've done. The guys all the guys that we've worked with here, I've never looked at any CVs. I don't have a CV. I've never had one. Because I've gone on my work and people have hired me because of my work and what I've done in the past. So I would say be better than your CV, and you know, that's, but having disparate tools, everyone using different hacked tools. You know, you get people that complain about Final Cut and they're like, oh yeah, it doesn't do this or that. I'm like, which cracked version are you using? You know, that is not right. That's old information. Like, even people say, oh yeah, Final Cut doesn't do good color. I'm like, actually, Final Cut's got some great color tools now. They're not a patch on this at all. But they're good now. Before they were not good. The sound in Final Cut is really good at organizing. You can organize this sound fantastic. Can you mix in there? No, it's horrible. I I feel like I'm going to run out of computers. I just want to smash them. It gets so frustrating. Doing audio in Final Cut is a waste of my time. Even exporting it to its own company's tool, Logic, it's a mess. They've never got it right. You have to use a third-party tool to get it out of there, to get into Logic, and then you're dealing with this mess, and you spend more time going, what is this? Stuff it. Then you export it and put it into Pro Tools, and you can get it done in a bit. I'd rather be right here, because I've always liked Fairlight tools, even though they were very expensive before. It's like, I like chocolate, but I can't have it every day. But if somebody's going to give it to me for free, I'm not going to not take it. That's no hint. But if there's chocolate, I'm happy. So I hope that answers your question. Can somebody get him the mic?
Does the software export or run arena faster in comparison?
That goes to this man's question as well. If you have you can tell it to use a CPU or GPU, and if you've got a lot of fusion effects going on there, and you've got them GPU accelerated, they will render really, really fast. The better the GPU, the better it works. This will automatically choose between what tasks it can do in the GPU and what tasks it has to use the CPU for. Some math things are better on GPU or FPU and CPU than others, and that's just the way that things are. But the better the graphics card really helps, and more memory. If you're doing a lot of things, this guy eats memory like anything, and the more memory you have, it obviously helps too. So more cores, more memory is better, but I think going forward, the better the GPU is going to be the real changer, But the renders aren't slow out of this either. Also, I found a lot of the times when people have long renders, it means their project isn't set up right. You have things that are shot at 25 frames a second, but you've got a 2398 or 24 timeline. That will make your render times go bananas. If you've got 8-bit footage and everything's 8-bit and you're processing 10-bit, but you're not really doing any effects on top of it, that's a big waste of time. That's just literally adding zeros onto things for no reason. If you don't have a whole bunch of hard drive space when you're rendering, it'll do it in smaller chunks, and setting up those chunks takes longer. Get a bunch of hard drive space. So any program can benefit from that. But, Premiere is sometimes horrible. We actually just discussed, who was it discussing it with? If you've got live text going, and you've got 3D text going, and you put a fade on the end of that. That last little bit, like, I'm rendering, good, the fade and the 3D text, and I'll just be another 10 minutes for those last few frames. Now Final Cut actually had that same problem. I've never actually tested that one out of here, having like the same typical things, but now Final Cut doesn't have that problem. It's pretty fast. I don't really feel there's a render issue on those ones for Final Cut, but this one, again, you give it more GPU, it's one thing that is different. Okay, this is on Final Cut. If 4K is you need tons of memory. It'll play back fine, but rendering, if you're doing anything on that, it can get a little slow there. This is far better, especially again with a GPU. It's like it doesn't even care. The resolution thing is better on this. The internal scaling was actually part of the internal architecture that was resolved way back in the day. And the way that they scale is really, really good too. So yeah, I think this will edge out in speed over the other ones in the end. Yeah, but I wouldn't say don't be complacent. Really, when you start a project and it's like you've got 5 clips and everything's fine. You're like, oh, this is great. Everything's cool. And then you start adding stuff, and then you're like, well, this needs graphics, and this needs text, and this needs a lower third, and this needs a freeze frame, and this needs. I need to put all this in a compound clip, and then by the last day, you're like, oh my, it's just trudging along. I think the architecture of this will be better for the future, but it is sadly holding a lot more at the beginning, So I feel it's maybe almost artificially a little bit slower at the beginning, but it's not going to get bogged down as much because it's already kind of doing it. All right, cool beans. But it's like things change. They might come up with some alien technology, then plug it into Final Cut, and all of a sudden that's faster for a while. They're always trying things of each other. Okay. Yes, sir. The man with the red shirt over there. He's dying to ask me a question. And I'm going to interrupt him every single time. Yes, he's trying again. No, on you go. I'm joking. On you go.
So my question is on Fair Life.
Oh, yes. Great.
And I'd like to know if the ability of it to clean up the audio.
Oh, yes.
And what the process is like.
Oh, yes.
And your normal arms.
You can put it on a clip-based, or you can put it on a track-based, right? One of the things that's cool, and this is the difference between track-based and clip-based. This is great because this reminded me of something. Pro Tools has kind of got this. Logic has kind of got this, and only recently. If you have a bunch of sound effects, but they all need different EQs, you end up putting them on different tracks because it's track-based EQ. It's track-based reverb, right? But if you just want to have one track of sound effects, but you want to put reverb on that clip, and you want to put EQ on that clip and compressor on that clip, you can put it on the track, or you can put it on the clip, and you end up using 1/10 of the tracks, right? And the process, so there's tons of audio cleanup tools, and there was a company, in California, the one I mentioned before, Audio West. They've actually, this is a sneaky thing for anyone that wants some audio cleanup tools. No one knows about this tool. You go to Audio West, and you'll look for it. It's the Hollywood studio. They have a plugin that takes out hum, that takes out background noise, it takes out ACs and everything, and you really don't need to give it much nudging in the right direction. It's a free plugin, and it does the first 2 minutes, I think, and then if you want it for longer than that, it's like $9 or something like that. And it's a VST-based plugin. It runs on its own, but they're having a version that's going to run in Fairlight. And the reason why they made that tool is that they were a big Fairlight company as well. They used to have hundreds of those things. So they've been building and adding on their own plugins that are incorporating into their systems. So for audio cleanup, for cleaning up audio, cleaning up background noise, and looking at it, Fairlight's fantastic for that. And after this, I can show you if you like. All right? But yeah, that, and again, the streaming, the bit where it moves underneath. You can't go back after that. Okay, tell me. That's it, no more questions. So that means no one's going to come up afterward and ask me anything. That was it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can open up, or we can do, I know they want to do the hardware thing, but yeah, let's open up for that.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Chris.
Hey!
Come on. All the way to the brand.
Hey!
Thank you very much for that, Richie. Another enlightening and illuminating
Illumination.
That is officially the end of the presentations that we had for today. What will happen though is similar to the break we had earlier. Some of the representatives are here, unless Richie, are you okay to speak? Because I know you have to catch a flight in. Cool, excellent, fantastic. Bonus, encore. We have Richie coming on from Fujifilm, the regional sales manager, Africa. Just give him a round of applause.
Hey, Richie!
Louder. We haven't heard him the whole day. Thank you, Richie.
Thank you. He's making me look good. And I am. Thank you. My name is Richie. I'm the sales manager for Fujifilm for the Africa region. Fujifilm, as you know, it's a household name. I don't think anyone here doesn't know who Fujifilm is.
Quite all right, my dear fellow.
This feels good.
Look at that. Sorry.
I like it.
Yeah, you have to put that in there.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I unfortunately, I'm supposed to have been here up until tomorrow, I have to take a flight due to an emergency back home. So I'm sorry I'm not able to sit and meet with some of you tomorrow, whoever may wanted to have a chat to me. You're most welcome to chat to Sefu or any one of his staff, and they'll be able to give you more information on our Fujinon lenses. Essentially, we make lenses for the broadcast and film industry. I have some brochures on a table somewhere. You're welcome to help yourselves if you want. And yeah, I wanted to just introduce myself. Lenses are, as you know, one of the most important things in the workflow process. Without a lens, it doesn't matter what camera you've got, you're not going to go anywhere. You do need the lens to be able to capture whatever content it is you want to produce. And so a lens is an essential part of the workflow. There's a lot I can go on talking about the lens. I don't want to bore you because it's a lot of technical information. All you need to know is it's important to choose the right lens for the right application, like it is with any other broadcast piece of equipment or software for that matter. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Please feel free to speak to Sefu or his team if you have any questions. I'll be here for the next 5 or 10 minutes before I leave. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come and chat to me about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ricky. Can you give him a round of applause that will reach all the way to South Africa, please? Louder, louder. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
like the way you said that he doesn't want to bore us with the technical aspects of a lens. And he basically went to say, yeah, but we made the best supply house anyway.
No, we do.
Great, thanks, Richie. And have a safe journey back. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Kenya again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is officially the last of the presentations that we had for today. We will again open the session up. You can go ahead and ask Chris all the questions you didn't want to ask him in public. Uhuru, who as we have just proudly made him our own, will also be available to talk about some of the equipment and more about Blackmagic products in general. Of course, Headbox is still here. Highway Audiovisual Solutions have the solutions for everything. So please, reach out to them, talk to them. They'll be here for the next half hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. You can really interact, get to know them. And I emphasize this as I did earlier, network with each other, because we are our biggest resource. I went around once or twice asking people if the group of people they were talking to, if they had met before. If they had, then I very politely asked them to go and meet someone else, because it's about meeting new people, right? This is about networking. Our industry, that's how it works. So from me and the rest of the team, I won't be coming back. Nobody will be taking a mic again. We are very happy that you came, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we will have a few similar things and a few more different things as well. So do come through tomorrow and look forward to seeing what we have lined up for you. I've been your MC today, Karagania Maulole, and tomorrow I will challenge you to say my name, except those who got my business card, because then you have the cheat code. And we'll see you all tomorrow. So please give a very, very, very warm round of applause for all of yourselves for being here today. Thank you very much.
It just means that I need to find an adapter. What are you having different tomorrow?